Hey there, Postal here. So today we're taking out the Horton 229. A great Tier 8 premium plane. This is German fighter. Got a lot of requests for it recently. I've posted quite a few videos on this plane. In fact, I think it might be my most viewed post ever. It's the last one that I posted. But that being said, it's still a little old. Almost a year old, I think now, or 6 months at least. Anyway, and on the hope that Wargaming puts out this plane for sale right around Christmas, let's go ahead and post a video on it, right? So what is the plane? Well, it is a fighter, but you're going to notice its play style. Oh, come on. Seriously? Its playstyle fits more like that of a heavy fighter. It's got great speed, great altitude performance. You have two very heavy-hitting 30mm cannons. Now, unfortunately, because there's only two of them, you can miss a lot of shots just because the firepower is very all or nothing. And sometimes that means you're getting a lot of nothing. So you just need to be mindful of that. It's like any 30mm cannon setup that's like this. You want to make sure that you're hitting your shots. If we can get this guy killed really quickly here. There we go. Now their command center is going for our garrison rather than for our command center. Let's see if we can't get rid of something. What are we going to go for here? Let's get this I-260. If we can, there we go. I want to try to avoid situations that we're not going to do well in. And this plane does not maneuver very well. It is a long-range sniper. I am tapping my cannons here. So I'm trying not to overheat them. There we go. Now I will definitely hold down my trigger when I'm trying to take out a target and I know that my guns are on target. Like right there. Or if I know that they're going to be turning away from me shortly. Ooh, that was a little bit too far out there, huh? There we go. I'll definitely, just hold down the trigger, but for the most part, I will definitely just tappity tap, tap, tap. And right there, I kind of held it down a little bit. Again, just because I knew that the plane was going to be, we need to capture that. The plane was going to be passing me, and there's no harm in just holding down the trigger at that point. Let's go ahead and see. I'm going to send everybody else to the mining facility, but I'm going to try to get this command center. Let's go ahead and get our engine boost on here. So one thing I want to point out, I would definitely recommend, once you specialize it, to put manual engine restart on here. Now, that's not how I have my plane set up, but that's because I play a little bit recklessly, we'll say. Ooh, hello. Dang it. Let's boost away. And we're going to go up and over. This A7M is just a little bit out of his league here. We got an I-260 behind us. Which, now that I think about it, normally I would just, yeah, I-260, I forgot it has a sniper cannon because I'm an idiot. How I forgot that, I wouldn't know. So we're going to put our pneumatic control assist on. And try to get rid of this guy who clearly wants to kill us. One of those multi-role flares, huh? There we go. It's not really what I want. I don't want to go back that way. There we go. Keep pushing. Get my engine boost on here. We've got somebody inbound on us. Oh, it's a BDP 210. Certainly seems like I just felt some rockets. It is a tier 8 battle, not a tier 9 battle, so it's not going to be a 212 or a F94D. Can't think straight here. There we go. I'd like to try to get rid of this guy here, just because that will get us the sector. Perfect. This A7M again is up too high. That's fine by us. He's just going to sit there. That's the kind of target we need sometimes. Awesome. So we've got the mining facility. We've got both command centers. We're slightly up on points, but we're going to be up on a lot more points soon enough. Whew. Man, avoiding that 210s rockets was key there for sure. Using our speed to get away. Wiggling. Don't just go in a damn straight line and then wonder why you died. Whether it be to rockets or to some guy with an I-260 sniping you. Be a difficult target to hit. Don't be an easy target to hit. You know, don't go ramming into planes in the beginning of a battle like a moron. But that's, you know, lesson learned, right? Cool. So here, we're just tapping. Go for the plane behind here. We're just tapping. We've got no reason to hold down the trigger until it's time to hold down the trigger, which we did right there as we passed. Marksman 2 helping us out. Let's go ahead and... We've got a heavy fighter over there. Looks like he's being chased down, though. Here's that I-260. It's not in a sector, but oh well. I guess we'll just live outside the sector. Man, you really do not have good maneuverability with this plane. At least I don't. I lean in on the speed with this plane, and I have success as a heavy fighter assassin of sorts. Pretty sure that, what is it, a Z? Oh, no, it's Pancake. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure the Pancake's going to be dead in just a second. Let's go ahead and take out this A. Nice. Excellent. Oh, they've got a ground attacker over here as well, so let's go knock him out. And we'll keep him out. Now the squall line's gone. If I was trying to get as many personal points as possible, I'd actually let him take this. Although I don't know if I could let him take it anyway. There's too many friendlies over here. Oh, dang it! What? Wait a what the heck? I did not think I was down that low. Well then, I guess it's going to be that kind of battle. I start off with a stupid crash and I end with a stupid crash. But that is the Horton for you. Not the crashing part. The fast speed, poor maneuverability, heavy hitting. Can't believe I got a Marseille somewhere in between two crashes. That's pretty hilarious. Okay. Let's head back. Alright, so we were able to get the win there. Had a really good middle part of the game, right? I crashed in the beginning. Which I get why I crashed in the beginning. I shouldn't have kept pulling up versus that head-on versus the heavy. Rammed into him. I'm still a little perturbed about the crash at the end. Maybe I got bomb dropped and it just registered as a crash. I don't really even know, to be honest. I'll have to go back and look. We got 18 kills. Man, we would have had an ace if we didn't crash in the beginning and crash at the end. Definitely at least would have had 19 if we could have gotten that ground attacker. Would have gotten ourselves our postal medal. But c'est la vie. Still got a Marseille, Akamatsu, a McCampbell, all kinds of good stuff. This game is not, by far, is not the best game that I've had in the Horton. Personal points wise, kills wise, any of that kind of stuff. But to me, with my, we'll say expertise with quotes around it in this plane, this honestly feels like kind of an average game that I have in the Horton. Not that it was like that for me right out of the box. It was a very strong plane right out of the box, but it does take some finagling. You've got two 30mm cannons. Yes, they hit very hard, but there's only two of them and they miss a lot. And so a lot of this plane is tapping the guns, taking pot shots at planes that don't even know you're there, and holding down the trigger when it's appropriate. A, when they're about to leave, your ability to kill them. well, that's really the only time, whether they're about to leave your ability to kill them because they're out turning your guns, or they're outspeeding you somehow. In those kind of situations, I'll hold down the trigger. Or if I need to kill it really quick so that I can get somewhere else, I'll hold down the trigger. Just keep in mind, when these guns overheat, they take quite a while to cool down. So try to avoid overheating them at all costs, except in desperate times. This is a very fast plane. This has reasonably a good altitude performance, I'd say, for Tier 8. And so I use that to attack or counterattack heavy fighters. I will take pot shots at bombers, but I don't necessarily stick behind them. You are still a fighter. Remember that. You might have a heavy fighter speed. You might even have semi-heavy fighter firepower. But you do not have heavy fighter survivability. Your health is less, and your wings and your engine get knocked out quite a bit. So keep in mind, while we're looking at my equipment setup, this is not the equipment setup that I necessarily recommend for everybody. This is the equipment setup that I've gone ahead with for my playstyle. My playstyle is quite a bit more aggressive than is recommended, we'll say. But we'll go over my equipment and consumables. Consumables setup specifically, I would recommend changing. Your equipment setup could conceivably be exactly the same. Let's take a quick look here at... Do I not have the ability to... Oh, here we go. Let's take a look at this plane as it would be stock. Stock, you're actually... Well, so the only thing you're going to have... Okay, cool. So, stock, you're going to still have the same equipment as far as your cockpit. You're going to have your sight for your airframe and engine. You've got some flexibility with that. You could go all in on speed. This is a fast plane. Some people want to lean hard on that speed. And so you could go with your high-speed gas turbine. You could go with an uprated engine. And you could go with polished skin. I personally have one equipment slot for maneuverability, just to give me a little bit of maneuverability to get my guns on target, just to make sure that I can outmaneuver things like an I-260, God forbid, a Soviet multi-role at Tier 8 outmaneuver me. What kind of world would that be? So I personally have 2 items for the engine for speed, and then 1 for the airframe for maneuverability. Let's actually go back and I'll change it to specialist here. As you can see, I've got uprated engine, the gas turbine, and then I've got the lightweight wing frame. I think I'm fast enough, basically. Yeah, I'm not the fastest thing out there, but in the vast majority of situations, I'm able to either stick with a heavy fighter I'm trying to kill, or outspeed a plane like a BVP-210, stuff like that. Most fighters, for that matter. In situations that I need to utilize those. But there's certainly an argument to be made to put polished skin on here. Keep in mind, my items are not completely ultimate. And so, this plane still has a lot of room for growth for its metrics. I just haven't seen a need as of right now to put it to ultimate. It does really, really well in the setup that I've got for my playstyle. You will not have forward-firing weapon equipment item. I've got gas-operated action, but the argument could be made to put on long gun barrels. In fact, I'm always super tempted to put long gun barrels on here because it actually will help your accuracy and the range of fire on this plane. And this plane typically does well at range. Wow, look at this! Oh man, it's so tempting. This would be the other one I would go for. Reinforced bolt carriers doesn't seem to be very helpful for this particular plane. But the long gun barrels and gas-operated action would be the 2 options I would go once you do specialize it. This plane tends to do better at the longer range. You don't want to be necessarily at the maximum range when you're firing your weapons, but being up close is the worst thing you could do for any plane that has just 2 30mm cannons, and it's especially true for this plane. Keep in mind, your cannons are on either side of your engine, so they're not centralized. So there's very often where you're firing your cannons and there's a little tiny plane, a Key 162, little tiny Zeros, any J7. For some reason, the Japanese planes, I don't know why, they're all little tiny planes, and your 30mm cannons tend to miss them because they'll be right here in the middle at mid to short range. So keep that in mind. You typically want to be in the mid to long range with your cannons. You'll see better hit registry with the guns themselves. But the focus needs to be on accuracy. And that's why gyroscopic sight is a must-have for this particular plane. Because it's premium, I've put a pilot in here that has Marksman 2. Yay! My pilot also has Aerodynamics Expert. This one actually even has Aerobatics Expert. Again, a little bit of maneuverability just helps me get my guns on target. I'm not dogfighting. You saw I wasn't like turn fighting with anything in this battle. And, you know, your perspective should be to never be getting yourself into some sort of turn battle. Unless you've gone ahead and set yourself up for a complete maneuverability build and you find success with that. I will be honest, I've never even tried to do a maneuverability build on this plane. It just seemed like a waste of its actual airspeed. And the fact is, if you're getting in a dogfight, that means you're typically, you know, up close and personal with that enemy plane. And the cannons just they're not reliable at super short range. And so just another reason why I wouldn't want to be a dogfighter in this plane. Because short range, the cannons are not going to hit and you're going to get super frustrated. Keep your enemies at longer range. Keep them at a puncher's distance. And you'll find success with the guns, no matter what kind of airframe you've got. So the consumables, let's touch point on this really quickly. I've got improved mixture control on here. That is not my necessarily my recommendation for you on this plane. I don't recall if my engines got knocked out in this game or not, but they tend to get knocked out pretty often. Even with my play style of avoiding getting hit in the first place, I still get my engines knocked out. So for most pilots, having the manual engine restart is going to be your best bet in this. Might even be your best bet when you're an elite plane rather than a specialized plane. An argument could be even made of having the engine restart over the engine cooling as your only engine consumable. I could see that argument being viable. For my playstyle, I've just gone all in on airspeed, and I've got the engine cooling, and I've got the mixture control, which adds engine thrust and overall cruise speed. But again, I don't recommend that unless that's your playstyle, unless you feel comfortable and you're willing to take that chance. If you get your engines knocked out, you just got to shrug your shoulders and either bend over, grab your ankles, or hope that you're going at a reasonable enough speed to get away anyway, which does happen when you're in a Horton. You're going pretty fast. So just be prepared for it. If you set your consumables up like I've got mine, I don't want to hear you yelling at me that it's not working properly because I just told you not to do it. Do as I say, not as I do. However, I do recommend for pneumatic control assist. The reason I recommend pneumatic control assist over emergency control system or exhaust bleed inerting system. The plane doesn't catch on fire all that often at all, so the exhaust system is not really relevant. Emergency control system, yeah, okay, your wings and tail might get knocked out, but that doesn't impact your airspeed, at least that I'm aware of. It impacts your ability to turn. Your Horton, you don't care if you're turning, right? If you get your wing or your tail knocked out, that means somebody's behind you shooting you. You want to get away from them, so you're going to use your airspeed to get away. If it's a heavy fighter that's behind you shooting you, and they knocked out your tail or wing, then yeah, you might not be able to boost away from them. That's when you would use your pneumatic control assist to be able to outturn for those 10 seconds that you need to, and then your wing and tail are in, and you can outmaneuver him anyway. If it's a light fighter or a multi-role that's behind you shooting you, you want to continue to keep your speed, and so having emergency control system isn't going to help you in that situation anyway. You want to keep your speed going, and yada, yada, yada. The other reason that I have pneumatic control assist is there will be times when I desperately need to make a U-turn and shoot whatever's coming after me, or where I desperately want to get my guns on target just a little bit quicker, and pneumatic control assist can help in that kind of situation. The other thing is first aid dressing. I use this because, again, this plane doesn't catch on fire very often, and you need to have your pilot in there because otherwise your pilot gets knocked out and your aiming reticle is the size of your whole screen, and of course you're never going to hit anything. Your 30 millimeter cannons are going cross-eyed. You got one going all the way out to the right and one going all the way out to the left, and your target's just sitting in the middle, not even realizing he's being shot at. And so first aid package is consumable recommendation for the cockpit in the Horton. I've got my 1101 pilot in here, but really any pilot that you have that has Marksman 2 is going to be a good pilot to put in here. You know, so yeah, you could have your heavy fighter pilot. In fact, this one would be a very good option. This my HG3 pilot has cruise flight, and so the cruise flight helps with your when you're not engaged in a battle for 20 seconds. Helps with your come on, Postal, you got this. Let's click on it and actually read it. Helps with your view range. That's what I was trying to think of, by 20%, and your actual engine speed and top, your engine thrust and top speed are increased by 3%. Again, that's when you're not engaged in a battle for 20 seconds. And so that's perfect for this particular plane, because you're able to see what's coming at you, and you're able to, or if you're going to a new sector, you can see what's in the sector before they even realize you're there. But again, that's a pilot that has Marksman 2. Yeah, any pilot that's got Marksman 2 is going to be the most helpful type pilot. And so that was going to be my choice on this particular plane. Engine Guru is certainly going to help. You know, I've got Aerodynamics Expert on here. Because my plane is specialized, I've got 3 different equipment items that are being used for speed and maneuverability. And so Aerodynamics Expert is super helpful in those types of situations. Actually, now that I say that, your equipment slot, you're always going to have all 3 speed equipment slots, speed and maneuverability. And so Aerodynamics Expert's always going to be helpful with this particular plane. It's just going to be more helpful as you upgrade your equipment to advanced, from advanced to ultimate equipment. It's just going to get better and better. So Aerodynamics Expert is certainly a good option here. Eventually, you're probably going to want to put Engine Guru 1 and Engine Guru 2 on here. That's really going to max out all your points at that point. You know, for my HG3 pilot, that would have him at 14 points, which I don't have any pilots at 14 points. So that just tells you how long I've got to go before I can max out my HG3 pilot. But that HG3 pilot setup, it would be perfect for this particular plane. And so maybe that's it. However you'd set up your 262s, that's how I recommend you set up your Horton 229 pilot. You'll do perfectly fine. My 1101 pilot is not going to have cruise speed on it right now. Cruise flight, excuse me. He's got Aerodynamics Expert, which is not necessarily terrible for the Horton. Again, just getting your guns on target a little bit quicker, but it's not necessarily the focus of this plane. Don't lose your focus. Your focus needs to be on the accuracy and speed of this plane, in my opinion, to make it the best impact on the match field. So that's the Horton 229 in a nutshell. If you've got any additional questions, you know, feel free to ask down below. You guys know I respond to all comments. You can also hop in my Discord. The link is in the description below. My community is really good about offering suggestions and tips and throwing out memes and stuff like that as well. But I'd also, if you've got the Horton, how do you have yours set up? Do you have yours set up differently? Everybody's going to fly it just a little bit differently. I don't know anybody that does a full maneuverability build with this. I would imagine it would probably drive me crazy, again, just because the guns aren't going to, you know, you're going to be up close and personal, and those guns just aren't going to hit when you're up close and personal. So it'd probably drive me a little nuts. But I'd love to hear your guys' nuanced builds. Do you think my suggestions are relevant? Do you think I'm completely nuts? I can't imagine that I'm completely nuts with the setup on it, other than the engine restart kind of thing. And the fact that I don't have a full speed build, I could understand people going full speed build on this plane. It's a very fast plane. And it's a very fun plane, as long as you're okay with understanding that you're going to miss a lot of your 30 millimeter cannon shots. Anywho, thank you so much for joining me. Sorry, a little bit of a ramble today, but I hope you guys don't mind my ramblings, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.